I went back to the gym recently after, you know, what felt like forever.
Yeah.
And, you know, and like the local gym I went to, like you can, you know, they're obviously like, oh, you can like use the app to see like how many people are at the gym right now in case you don't want to be like, you know, in case like the gym's like full or anything, or you know, the machines aren't available. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's fantastic. So before I leave the house, I go, okay, let's see how many people are there. And I usually try to go like during the night because that's when people, that's when it's emptier. Yeah. So I went in, and the gym I go to split into 2 floors, and it's like the free weights are on one floor, and then the machines are on another floor. And on the app it shows you like, okay, there are this many people on this floor, this many people on this floor. So one of the nights I was like, oh, okay, cool. There's no one in the free weights room, so I'll just go there. Empty the entire night, right? But I don't know if this is the same with the gym you guys go to, but like, now they've made it so that if you're on like a cardio, like a running machine or like a bike or anything, you don't have to wear a mask.
Oh, not on my gym. You still have to wear a mask.
Oh, really? Okay, so in my gym, it's like if you're on the running machine or you're on like a bicycle or like any cardio stuff so that you can fucking breathe properly, you can take the mask off. But if you're on a machine or you're in free weights, you have to have a mask on.
It's so dumb that Anytime Fitness, at least one near me, you still have to wear a mask on the cardio.
Oh, really?
And like some people do it.
Yeah,
like,
it's
I'm
torture.
To be honest, bro. I'm like, nah, bro.
Yeah,
I just
I
go in the corner, I look at the wall, and I'm like, please just don't bother me because I can't run with the mask.
Yeah, same. But like, so I was like, all right, I'll just go to the free weights room, whatever, right? It's empty as shit, right? And you have to wear a mask even in the free weights room, right? Yeah. But I'm like, it's like 10 p.m. I know no one's gonna come in. No one's here. Yeah. So fuck it. I'll just take the mask off so I can actually breathe, right? Just yesterday, I get this text from the gym.
No.
A text?
A text. An automated message text that basically reads, yeah, so there have been reports that you were at the gym on this day at this time not wearing a mask.
No.
And I'm like,
are you serious?
Yeah, and he was like, you know,
we've revoked your credit card access. You're now not allowed to spend money.
You are now blacklisted from all gyms. And no, basically it was like,
dystopian.
It was so passive aggressive too, because it was like, you're not in trouble, but it's just like a warning. You know, it's like we require all you know, gym goers to wear a mask where it's necessary. And I'm like, bro, this room was empty. Who am I going to infect?
I mean,
was there someone who reported you, or was there someone who was like looking on the security camera?
Probably someone who just like the next day went onto the security camera and was like, oh, this fucking foreigner's not wearing a mask. I'm gonna send a passive aggressive tweet to them.
Maybe they have AI that can tell when you're not wearing a mask. Probably.
Need to turn on the lights in the back.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
We are dumb and forgot to turn on our purple lights.
There we go. Now the set looks good.
All right. I don't think any of us are anti-mask, but I think when it comes to exercise, I think, you know, there should be some leeway there where it's like, hey, especially when you're doing cardio. Like, and it is annoying that at least Anytime Fitness in Japan doesn't, well, at least there's like fucking millions of signs saying don't wear your mask. But most people I've seen don't. Some people do. Yeah. It's weird seeing who does and doesn't in Japan. Right. As a foreigner, it's like, all right, people expect me to not follow the rules, and it's like, whatever. But it's weird. It's odd seeing which Japanese people follow the rules. And I've noticed the more ripped someone is in the gym in Japan, the less likely they are to wear their mask. I'm not kidding. The absolute.
Because who's going to tell them not to? Who's going to tell them? Who's going to stop them?
I'm not kidding. The absolute giga chads in the gym don't wear masks. I'm not. This is not. This is okay. This is not me like fetishizing me being like, do real men don't wear? It's like I've just noticed that the more ripped someone is in Japan, the more the mask might be like down here or down here.
It's the most like, who's going to stop me?
And I you know, and people who tend to be more timid, I've noticed that you know, tend to wear the mask.
Also,
it's weird. It's weird. I've noticed that. I'm not saying that like giga chads don't wear. Okay, I don't fucking believe.
That's probably why I got the text message, because the guy looked at the security camera. I'm like, this fucking skinny bitch. I'm gonna text him.
Well, I wonder because it must be AI.
I'm gonna fuck up his social credit score
right now.
It must be AI that's counting how many people are in there. It's pretty easy. So it might be AI.
That's just, if it's an automated message.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It's just like, I've never gotten a message like that. And I was just like dumbfounded. I'm like, first of all, there was no one there. So how the fuck did they know? Yeah. And second, I'm like, okay, I get it if there was like, you know, other people in the room, right? That are in close vicinity. But for one, this is an empty ass room. It was empty the entire time I was there. Like before I came, after I left, no one ever came in. No one even came close. Also, what the fuck is the point of there being 5 air purifiers in this tiny room?
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like Japan is like, Japan's like, because I noticed this with a few places now where Japan's at this point where it's kind of like in this limbo phase where people don't know.
It's really odd.
Yeah. People don't know whether to take, you know, the same corona precautions whether to stick with them or not. Because I've noticed some establishment, like you go to like restaurants and stuff, and all the signs are still up over like the same like COVID precautions that were like there deep during the pandemic. Whether establishments follow them or not is completely a coin flip right now.
You know which thing I really want to die, and I hope this never, I just want this to stop. It's, you know, when you go to a restaurant or a cafe, and they have this in Japan, I don't think they did this anywhere else. They had the screen dividing you and your friend.
Yeah.
And so,
I hate that shit.
And so, but just, to me, like, again, I'm all for taking precautions to separate you from other customers because you know you didn't come in with them. But if you come in with, say, like someone you're dating or your partner who you're married to, and then they put this screen in between you both, in my head, I'm like, what is this? Like, I don't understand.
It's like I'm visiting my partner in jail, you know? It's like, that's what it feels like. It's like, let me pick up the phone.
Honey, put your hand up.
I just don't do this.
It's almost like you're here.
All it does, and again, I don't, if that was like fine, but it's like, if I want to share food, it becomes impossible.
Because you have to like go around.
And I swear to God, if you touch it in Japan, they freak out. Because, you know, maybe you have a big enough table where you're like, fuck it, you move it. And then like, oh! And they're like, what are you doing? Put it back. And it's like, oh, what? I mean,
he just committed warfare.
It's weird though. And I've been in other restaurants where they'll just literally see you coming together and they'll just move it for you. So it's so bizarre. And it feels like
incredibly inconsistent, which is what makes it annoying.
And you know, like we did, I had my 4th shot recently. I don't even know if America's doing 4th shots.
Right.
Oh, I don't even, is the UK doing 4th shots?
I have no idea.
Of COVID boosters? Well, you know, Japan came my mail and it was like, you should do it. And I was like, fine, I'll go and do it. Why not? You know, who doesn't want more protection?
Sure.
Just collecting them all.
I'm like,
the chaos
dude. And so I go and get this thing. I sit down and this elderly guy starts talking to me in Japanese, but then he asked me if I speak English. And I was like, oh yeah, I speak English. Then he starts speaking to me in like fluent English. And he's like 70, nearly 80, I think.
That's like the shiny Pokemon of Japan.
Like
oh shit.
The smoothest, most awesome pronunciation of English ever. And I was like, oh wow. And we started talking and, you know, we were having a good time. We were like laughing, joking. And then they were like, some person came over and was like, stop talking. Not allowed to talk. You could be like, for COVID reasons, you could be spreading it. I'm like, are we still at that stage where we're worried about this? Like, we're wearing masks. Like, is this...
Apparently.
We're like whispering to each other. And then this old man goes, yeah, Japan is too strict sometimes.
Him, an old Japanese
he got
person
so frustrated. He was like shaking his head when she told him off. It was so funny. I was like, oh man, this guy is like, he's the energy of a young person.
That's probably why he can speak English, right?
He's the voice of reason.
That was funny.
No, obviously, if an old Japanese guy speaks English, they've traveled around. You know, they're interested in other cultures.
Know what's up.
It's interesting. I mean, it's weird seeing which aspects of COVID precautions they cling on to here. And I don't necessarily feel like it's of any real impact, more of maybe like a comfort thing. Like, I don't really understand a lot of the thought process.
I mean, it's gotten to the point right now where I think at this stage in the pandemic, a lot of the establishments that do these kind of things, it's kind of more like theater, which is why which is why some people choose to do it, some people would choose not to enforce it, and it's kind of like dependent on the establishment. Because like I went to a restaurant the other day where they still had the screen like disconnecting me and whoever you're sitting down with. And you know, if you just ask them, hey, can we remove this? They would just go, okay. Okay.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do not want. They are like absolutely.
But that's the thing, right? It's like it would be less frustrating if they were at least consistent with it. It's like if it was like in the heart of the pandemic where it's like there was no bullshit, there was no excuse. It's like this is this, and these are the steps you got to take. Then it's like, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I might as well live with it. But like now, as you said, it's like there are some times where I walk into like a konbini, right? And like one konbini, you know, I might be like, oh fuck, I forgot my mask. They won't say anything. Another one, I walk in without my mask and they just freak the fuck out. And I'm like, can you at least be consistent with this shit?
I went into a konbini to buy a mask. So I lost my mask.
And they wouldn't let you
in. They were freaking out.
And
I was like, I'm like, no, I'm buying a mask. And they were like, how do we, what is this protocol? How do we, I can see the like gears turning in their brain of like, oh no. Because, you know, oftentimes
like
you
the paradox.
you just put your mask. Yeah, it's like, it's like you just put your mask in your pocket. Oh no, maybe it fell out, or you dropped it somewhere, or you put it in the car. You know, you've got to buy a new mask. And it's like, dude, I'm just buying a mask, man. Chill out.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm trying to follow and adhere to the rules, but sometimes it's like, it feels, like you said, it feels more like theater. And it's
well, I think it's also compounded by the fact that, you know, the country's open now, and there's no way to distinguish us between like people who have lived here during the pandemic and tourists. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, because I've noticed this a lot, where before, you know, people kind of treated you all the same. Because they knew, you know, you knew kind of like the rules here, because you must have been living here, right? Yeah. But now they must come in with the assumption of, you just came in this country yesterday. You don't know anything. You know what I mean? And I've noticed that subtle like behavior shift within like the past few weeks.